uh, probably going to be managing some of the screen with Jared today, and I'm Doug Olson with the Vision Center. I'll let Tom and Jared introduce themselves, but I will tell you that from the senior living field and the Vision Center, we're super excited about the quality of organization we're being connected with. So I'll turn it over to the two gentlemen that can kind of share their own perspectives and background.
Thanks, Doug, and the feeling is absolutely mutual. Really appreciate this opportunity to collaborate with the Vision Center and collaborate with all of you. Thank you for taking the time today to learn about Wish of a Lifetime. Before I flip it over to Jared, just wanted to give a little background on our organization. We are Wish of a Lifetime, and we are an official charitable affiliate of AARP. But we were founded back in 2008 with a pretty simple premise that by granting the lifelong wishes of deserving older adults, we can renew senses of purpose and fulfillment in really underserved populations and communities, and really work to change their lives and have a profound impact on their well-being and happiness. And we've granted 2,600 wishes to date. And have seen time and time again that our services really do have a profound impact on these individuals, but then also provide great opportunities to share the work with the general public in a really positive way about the value of purposeful aging. So excited to share more about our mission and our organization with you, and I'll flip it over to Jared to do just that.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, everybody, thank you so much for being here. My name is Jared Bloomfield. I am the National Field Director at Wish of a Lifetime. So what Tom really talks about with the dream of spreading the word about how amazing older adults are and their amazing stories, their incredible, inspiring stories that they can tell. That's what Wish of a Lifetime does. What the National Field Team does is trying to figure out how to really spread the word and how to empower people on the ground every day to find older adults to submit wishes for and to tell those stories. And so I'll let Doug and Kiki introduce themselves, but just a quick overview of this presentation. This is a training as to how to do just that. We know that you all work with aging individuals, and we feel really strongly that this activation really is a resource to improve the lives of the older adults you work with in an easy and fun way. That's the most important thing. I am a graduate of the MSW program here at the University of Denver, so I'm a social worker, and I know how busy it is to be on the ground and that we want to do good. We want to provide enrichment support, but time and other priorities are sometimes a factor in us not being able to get that done. And so this is a really easy and fun way to engage, and we're just excited to lay it out for you, be really supportive this year, and grow something really special between Wish of a Lifetime, your universities, and then, of course, Doug, Kiki, and their team.
All right, so we'll give a 5-minute overview, and then we're going to turn most of this time over to Jared. Maybe the next slide that we could talk about would be, I just want you all to know, and Kiki and I think the two gentlemen on the call, we're super excited about this opportunity. We feel like it's bringing together two really great forces, and those forces are expressed for the Vision Center. For our belief is the students and residency students out at universities across the country are a significant force, and you're starting something on the ground floor. I appreciate you've probably just heard about this in the last couple of weeks, and you've already jumped on a call. Although I want to say one more time, if you can put your cameras on, that'd be even better. I wish we could see more people. I do want to say that, but we are super excited about the connections that are going to happen, the learning experiences between what we see as a winning formula between students and seniors. Next slide, Jared. Just from our perspective, this is one of those things that we're going to figure out how this all works. We just kind of figured out this partnership just a short couple months ago. Actually, it became more formal for us. And so we really think that there's lots of possibilities with this. I want to encourage after the presentation, they've got a great website, some great resources. We have some of the same, but I would encourage you, Jared, I've gotten to know pretty well, and very open, and would love to hear from you as far as questions and being engaged with us. Kiki, the same, and I'm sure I can say the same for Tom and I. We want to see this be accessible. I also see it as, and I hadn't thought about this a lot, but this is just another way for us to also get you engaged with not only the Vision Center, but Wish of a Lifetime kind of as an organization. So you're on the ground floor. A lot of us feel like people like you on this call are our future, and we need to have you engaged in helping us figure out the solutions. And I'm super excited about this person-centered quality of life improvement effort that we're going to be doing, and fits really well with what you're going to be doing in your secret sauce of field experiences. So I'm going to turn it over to Jared, and we're 100% behind this, and I'm excited to learn as well as they are.
I'm going to take that spotlight and shift it back over to Kiki for 30 seconds. If that's okay, just because, and thank you, Doug. That was so beautifully stated, and we appreciate the support. What I want us to focus on today, and whether your cameras are on or not, please feel free to use the chat. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. It's the 30 of us, which is a pretty large group, but it's not that huge that we do want it to be collaborative. And Kiki and I are going to work really hard to make sure that not only is this cool and fun and meaningful, but it's easy and you're well supported. So Kiki is going to be kind of my co-partner in crime on that from a student engagement perspective. So I wanted you to be able to introduce yourself, Kiki, before we got into it.
Sure.
Sure.
That kind of did introduce me real quick, but yes, so I am Kiki Bashano, everybody. I am the Associate Director of Operations for the Vision Center. And Jared and I have been working together a lot lately just to try to figure out how to collaborate together and the best way to get students involved. And I just want to say this is such an awesome opportunity for every one of you on this call to make a huge difference in somebody's life. So I hope you really take consideration in this, and yeah, we're so glad you're here.
Cool. Well, let's rock and roll. So what I can promise here is this presentation will be about 25 to 30 minutes. And so it's 1:10 Mountain right now. And so just for you all to know, at about 1:40, we'll open it up to questions. We're really going to focus on the what, why, and how of Wish of a Lifetime. So what are we doing? Why are we doing what we're doing? What is the need? And how is the most important thing here? How do we make this as easy as possible for you all to be engaged, knowing that you all are so busy with your outreach? And so before we really get into the why going into the what, I wanted to just reintroduce Wish of a Lifetime. So Wish of a Lifetime, as Tom mentioned, we are an AARP charitable affiliate. We grant wishes for people 65 plus. We granted over 2,000 wishes. The updated numbers are like 2,600 wishes since our founding in 2008. And the goal is to find impactful stories and honor older adults through a wide variety of experiences. And so we're going to get into what those experiences are in just a moment. So I won't spend too much time on mission and vision. Suffice it to say that it's not just about granting amazing wishes for older adults. It's about using a wish as a way to tell stories of people that have incredibly impactful stories. And if everybody can just make sure to mute themselves, we're getting a little bit of feedback right now. So these are incredibly impactful stories that we want to make sure we're sharing with the general public. I'm sure you know this. I know this. We talk to older adults that are so fantastic, and we want other people to feel how fantastic they are. It shouldn't just be your grandparents who you know how great they are. It should be a wide variety of incredible older adults. So through granting wishes, through these special experiences, we're able to tell amazing stories. And then through that, we're shifting the way people view and value older adults And one of the things that I wanted to talk about really quick from an intergenerational perspective is this is why we're so excited about Vision Center. It's the younger population that not only has the connection into senior communities, but has the storytelling ability and right now has the interest to really change the way people view aging and create what we're hoping will be a culture change. And I know Wish of a Lifetime and Vision Center share that. So as we really dig deeper into this why do we do what we do? Why is it important? We'd like to share some statistics. And as college students, you probably look at quality of life, happiness, purpose, energy, overall health, seeing that if a wish is granted, people are less likely to be socially isolated. And if somebody is less likely to be socially isolated, of course, they're going to be a lot healthier. But you're probably looking at these numbers as college students and you're thinking, well, of course people are happier. Of course their purpose is higher. If they're getting a wish, they're getting an experience. They're throwing out a first pitch at a baseball game. They're seeing a family member for the first time in 30 years. Of course, they're going to be happier. And what Wish of a Lifetime has done is we've combined the quantitative evidence here with also deep qualitative or storytelling evidence of how impactful and meaningful these wishes are. So, want to talk to you about one of my favorite wishes of all time that was granted before I came onto the organization. It's an older adult named Dan. And Dan is a veteran of the Navy who was honorably discharged after about 20 years of service. And Dan gave back so much to his community, not only in his service, but after he left the Navy, giving back to his family, giving back to his community, raising children, and really being the type of person in his post-Navy retirement that we wanted to honor. And so Dan has a decorated life of not only military service, but community service. And so we were brought to Dan by his nominator, which hopefully all of you, after leaving this conversation today, will be nominators. This is somebody that's well connected in the community and is deeply engaged with older adults. And so the nominator asked Dan to talk a little bit more about Dan's life. And we'll talk about some of the questions that the nominator asked. But after about 20 to 30 minutes of conversation, it was very clear what Dan's wish of a lifetime was. And that was to spend time on a submarine for the first time since he was discharged and really connect with his Navy service. And so the nominator sent that information to us. We called Dan. We loved Dan. We thought he was so great. We wanted to do something really special to honor Dan's military service with respect to his time in the Navy. And so we called our friends of the Navy. We wanted to grant this wish. We wanted to get him on a submarine. And our friends of the Navy came back to us and said, okay, we have two options for you. The first option is we'll send him on what's called a decommissioned submarine. And so this would be a great opportunity for Dan to be able to be on basically a museum, right? A decommissioned submarine isn't working anymore. He would be able to have lunch. He'd be able to engage with other Navy members and experience what it was like to be on a submarine. So we thought this was a pretty good idea, honestly, and we thought that Dan would be fairly satisfied with it. But then they came up with another idea, and that other idea was to get Dan on a working or active submarine. And obviously, having Dan actually see and feel what the experience is like today and feeling like he was an active part of the Navy really outweighed the first option. And so with every great option, there comes a challenge. And the difficulty is in order to get into the submarine, Dan had to scale a short ladder in order to get in and out of the submarine. And you can see here, Dan is seated and his mobility was fairly limited. And climbing that ladder was a bit of a risk. And we're a very empowering organization. And as long as we have a liability form signed, we're going to empower our older adults to do what they want to do. But we wanted to bring it to Dan and we wanted to see what he thought. And so we laid out two of the options for Dan. You can go on the decommissioned submarine and you're not gonna have to do the ladder. Or there's other option I know is a lot cooler, but you'd have to go up and down the ladder. How do you feel about it? And you could tell he was really thinking about it. He was really taking it in, and he asked for a couple weeks. And so we gave him a couple weeks and finally came back to him, and after 3 or 4 weeks, and hadn't really heard much from him, and called him, he didn't answer, checked in with his nominator, his community, and she hadn't really heard from him much either. So she goes down to his room and knocks on his door and looks to the right-hand side, and he isn't actually there. And then all of a sudden she looks to the left-hand side of his room, and there he is. He had gone to Home Depot, bought a ladder, and he was practicing scaling that ladder up and down and up and down and up and down. And he looked over his shoulder and he said, "Give me a month." And here he is 3 or 4 months later at his wish of a lifetime, proving that not only are wishes going to improve quality of life, happiness, purpose in life, overall energy, but there is really a long-term life-changing impact. And it's found in some way in all of our 2,600 stories. Wonderful. So we're moving from the why into the what, and we're going to talk a little bit about the wishes that we grant. So we've granted 2,600 wishes since 2008. Our wish experiences vary, but they have to be an event. That's really important. You all work very deeply in the field, and you know that people are probably going to ask for help with food assistance or housing assistance or clothing assistance. And we know, although that's very, very much needed, Wish of a Lifetime's focus is about experiences. And experiences can be going on a hot air balloon for the first time. It can be riding a motorcycle for the first time. It can be seeing a family member for the first time in 30 years. And we'll get into more of these specific details here as we go into our wishes. But one of the wishes that really, really underlines what we're looking for, the deep connection to a wish, the intense level of sacrifice and service of a person that we want to honor, and the uniqueness of a story really goes into Mel Heckman's Wish of a Lifetime. So before I show this really cool video, and you all can sit back and relax and enjoy, 4.5 minutes of Mel Heckman's Wish of a Lifetime, oftentimes people ask me about connection to the wish. Because we say when we're reaching out, and you all will say when you're reaching out to community members, we don't just do a nice thing for a nice person. We do a deeply meaningful event for somebody that's given a lot back. And oftentimes when I'm talking to my staff or my teams, I describe it as a Hawaii effect. We don't just send anybody to Hawaii because it's a fun outing for them. We would send somebody to Hawaii if they have family in Hawaii, if they had a deep trauma or tragedy that they want to revisit, or if they are in Hawaii on December 7th of 1941. And with that, I look forward to sharing Mel Heckman's Wish of a Lifetime. Oh no, that was such a great little intro. And we lost the video. Okay, watch this. Give me 1 second and I will just say, if anybody has any questions at this time, you can put them in the chat. But I'm gonna pull up our video because it's too good to miss. And I had some problems embedding. Sorry, everybody, for the little silence, but we're going to get right back on track in about...
Manuel, where are you from?
I'm a student at Dominguez Hills, and my professor had told me about this webinar.
Nice. Matthew's a good man. When I'm out there in California, I want to connect with you.
I would love that. He's helping me learn a lot about long-term care and the different opportunities and ways that we can help older persons. And our country. So I'm really happy to be here.
Nice. I'm Jack Lucilio. All right, are we on the video?
Oh yeah, let's rock. Everybody can hear?
I didn't even know if he would be alive anymore. Because I knew how much he really wanted to go. So we kept planning and we kept talking with him. And then when I found out, I never thought that he would ever be granted that wish again. Come on, he was already given it once and couldn't take it. The fact that he got it again was just phenomenal. So he was so ecstatic.
I nominated him back in 2013, and I'd known him at that point for a couple years, 3 years, and I knew that this was his wish. And we really tried to make it happen, but Mel fell ill, and his wife fell ill, and so it didn't work out here. But ever since then, and even before then, he's been talking about the 75th.
Nice to finally meet you now.
Yeah, here we are.
You ready to go to Hawaii?
Yes, sir. Live on there. That's just fine, sir. You
Navy Chief. Navy Pride. Navy Chief. Navy Pride. Navy Chief. Navy Pride. Booyah.
I'd like to share this honor with the shipmates. For instance, 1,177 men on the Arizona, the 460 souls on the Oklahoma, and many other of my shipmates.
Knowing that he's going to be able to come back with us, with all his family, to keep the story alive, and the truth of the story, the sacrifices of the men and women, that's vitally important to him.
And join me in expressing our appreciation and recognition of watching you today.
Being in that exact location was so real, and I think so meaningful for him too. I saw his emotion, but I also saw his pride and his sense of being able to help others and accomplish and what he needed to do as a sailor.
It was a beautiful Sunday morning, the 7th of December. Happens to be the day I was on duty with the fire station. The fire truck was parked right here, but the Japanese came in. It looked like the sky was black. There were so many of them. Unbelievable how many planes came in on Battleship Road here.
You were 18 years old. A lot of them were 18, 19.
That's it. Kids. Yeah. In the Arizona, 1,177 kids. Like my grandson standing right there. Exactly. That's a good example of what was on the Arizona.
You're in uniform here. Is Mel, your grandfather, is he part of the inspiration for you being in uniform?
Absolutely. I grew up listening to his stories and sitting at his dining room table, and his time in the service, the places he's seen, the things he's done, and it was my primary motivation for joining the Navy. I would not be here without him, and I would not be where I am without his mentorship.
And I want to thank her and the rescue folks to the bottom of my heart, because this is unbelievable.
Such a beautiful, beautiful story. And I'm going to pull up our PowerPoint right now and continue the great discussion that we'll have moving forward here. And thank you again. I'm a one-man tech show, which is always really, really fun. Okay, fantastic. So we're now getting from the why to our what. Remember, we're going to try to keep this fun and easy and moving from why, what, and how. So Mel's story is a great example of the ideal story we're trying to tell. It was such an empowering thing for him to go to Hawaii. His military service is not only so important for him to share with the world, but also for his grandkids, as you saw in that clip. It was incredibly inspiring. You wouldn't really see there, but Mel had a very isolating last 3 or 4 years. And so him going out and having that experience gave him such joy, and his family, who became friends with Wish of a Lifetime, gave them such joy as the wish ended and they transitioned into supporters of the organization. So I'm just checking to see if there's a Q&A. So that's a great example of one of our 2,600 wishes. And between Dan and Mel's story, we have such incredible stories to tell, and it's hard to pick and choose. But I wanted to go into the types of wishes that we grant. And as I mentioned, we grant wishes as simple as sending somebody to a special dinner if they haven't been able to go out into community for many years, or wishes as well built out as sending Mel to Hawaii, sending World War II veterans to Normandy who stormed the beaches, reuniting 3 sisters that were all centenarians in their hundreds. The oldest was 110, to reunite with each other. And one of the sisters needed a private plane to do so. So these wishes can be simple. They can be well built out. They can last a day. They can last an hour. They can last a week. And within that, we have 4 different categories just to start priming the pump of the types of wishes that we grant. So the first one is commemorating service. And when we think of commemorating service, we'll typically think of Lieutenant Colonel Harvey, who's photoed here, a Tuskegee Airman that we were able to honor, actually not only in Washington, D.C., but at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, Nevada, with an honor that him and his Tuskegee Airmen rightfully won and weren't honored with until 2 years ago, 75 years after Lieutenant Colonel Harvey and his team had the success that was not honored. We also send veterans to Washington, D.C. on a veterans trip. We do that twice a year. They're 3 or 4 day trips to make sure that those that served us realize and appreciate that their sacrifice was completely appreciated and should be honored. So we think about military a lot with commemorating service, but what you might not think about that we also do is finding other ways to honor service. So that means honoring police officers to send them back to their police stations, firefighters back to their fire stations, doctors back to their hospitals, teachers back to their schools. This is really about telling the story of what an older adult did to give back in their community, and how can we honor that through a special and unique experience. So every time I do this presentation, I always say that there's a different of the 4 categories that is my favorite, but really my favorite is connecting loved ones. And so this is honoring older adults who deeply wish to see somebody that they miss, whether that be a family member, whether that be a friend, a pen pal. I don't know if you all do pen pals, but older adults do pen pals so well. And so during the pandemic, we called out to our older adults. That was when we were on a complete wish granting hiatus, and we asked them what they wanted. Did they want more food? Did they want coloring books? Did they want phone calls? And really what they wanted is to connect with loved ones. And here we are in a post-pandemic phase, a much safer phase for older adults to reconnect. And it's our goal to connect seniors with those that they love. If they haven't seen them for more than 3 years, they qualify for this category. And it's not all family. One of my favorite wishes of all time, this is not the picture of up here, but we had 2 older adults that were dating when they were 16 years old. The older adult, well, the male at the time, the teenager, went off to war, and the couple split. And by the time he got back, his girlfriend had found somebody else to marry. Now, flash forward 45 years, both of the now older adults had lost their spouses, and they were thinking about reconnecting. And we were actually able to reconnect them past girlfriend and boyfriend after 45 years in front of their kids and to reconnect on the life that could have been and the life that was. So many ways for us to honor older adults in the relationships that they hold through connecting loved ones. So renewing and celebrating passions. This is a category where we're trying to bring older adults back together with hobbies that they used to love. Whether that's Sue, whose wish of a lifetime was to feed the baby animals on a farm near where she grew up, and she needed help taking 10 days away from her life to get to to get to a farm here and feed the baby animals. We've also honored older adults who always wanted to perform in front of an audience and maybe haven't done it for 20, 30, 40 years. One of my favorite wishes of all time was we helped 2 older adults train and compete in the National Senior Olympics. So renewing and celebrating passions, and you all know this because you worked with older adults. There's a lot of, I love doing this, but I used to, right? And sometimes older adults just need a little bit of outside encouragement and support in order to turn that I used to into an active experience like we see with Sue and the other amazing examples that I was able to provide. So fulfilling lifelong dreams, you'll kind of start to feel that wish of a lifetime isn't just a really cool experience. It's something that is so deep and unique to the older adult that we're working with. But if an older adult is Jack and at 97, he's always wanted to go on a fighter jet, pictured here, we're honored to tell Jack's story. If an older adult is 99 years old and she's a Holocaust survivor, and instead of viewing her life as a life full of trauma, she viewed it as a life of adventure, and she wanted to take one more adventure, and that was to go on a hot air balloon, we're honored to tell that story. If an older adult is 103 and Luis wants to throw out the first pitch at a baseball game, Minnesota Twins baseball game, we're honored to be able to do that. And so you see, wishes have such incredible depth to the older adult and such connection. But we really, if somebody has wanted to do something for 30, 40, 50 years, excuse me, what an amazing honor for us to be able to make that happen. Okay, so here we are. We're at 35. We have about 8 to 9 minutes left of this presentation. And finally, we've moved from the why to the what, now into the how. What do we want you all to do? And I'm going to pull up the application when we answer questions. But the ask is really easy. We want you to take this enthusiasm into the conversations you have with your older adults. And we're going to go through really specific questions in a second, but your connections are your currency. We are still looking for amazing wishes to grant, and we need your help to spread the word. My gut is when you talk to people out in community, they might not know who Wish of a Lifetime is. And we need nominators who have the trust of an older adult to really reassure their older adult that this is real and this is incredibly special. So guidelines, we talked about the Hawaii effect, the deep connection to a wish experience. We talked about making sure that somebody has given a lot back, just like Dan did to his community. You'll see here we have just a few other guidelines for qualification, and the hope is most of the older adults you work with do fit into this qualifications, and we've worked really hard to relax those qualifications as much as possible so that our tent is wide open and we can tell as many diverse stories as we possibly can. So, as I had mentioned, I have an MSW, so I came into this with a social work degree. And the way that initially we went out and had success in sourcing wishes in community is with a life review and reminisce approach. So this is something, if you haven't learned, this is something that you will learn, and I'd be more than happy to answer questions about it, whether it's today or offline. And that really means creating space to hear from older adults what they loved in their life. We want to hear about the past. What do you love? What do you miss? What excites you? If there's the miracle question that I'm sure you all have asked a lot. if there's one thing that would make your life complete, what would it be? And through asking those questions and providing a lot of space, you'll be amazed how quick we hear, oh, well, I really miss my sister. Or I don't think it would be possible, but I love Ellen DeGeneres. Or if I could only afford to travel, I would do this. So that's the first thing, providing an opening for space. And my God, is you're having these conversations anyway, because it's so fascinating to hear from an older adult about what makes their life complete and what made their life very full. The second piece is building rapport and providing some examples to excite the client about potential wishes being granted. So taking these examples, and I'll send out a little one-pager for you all as well. A lot of people feel like this is a scam, or they don't feel like they are worthy. So luckily, not only do we work with AARP, but we work with Vision Center now. And hopefully that will provide, and we have a beautiful website, which I'll share as well. Hopefully that will provide a bit of reassurance to your clients.
I did not.
When you walked out, he walked in. I have somebody, I would love to be on mute, if that's possible. Somebody's talking. So if you can put yourself on mute, that would be really great. So that's number one. Number two, the idea that, hey, I'm not worthy of this wish experience. That's where you provide a lot of time for the life review and reminisce approach, to prove to older adults that not only is their story worthwhile, unique, and meaningful, but it's also something that other people need to hear. We don't charge for our wishes, but we do ask our older adults to share their stories with community. And through granting wishes, we're able to continue to fuel and power our mission. And so in that way, older adults are giving a lot back through even being a part of the wish granting experience. Okay, so just so you know, we have about 5 minutes to go in this presentation. So I want you to start thinking about questions, slides you want to revisit. Again, you can put them in the chat or you can ask them. So the first step to the process is the outreach process. And that's what we talked about, is wish submission. So there's two ways to submit a wish. The first way is to go on our website, and I'll pull this up when we answer questions here. www.wishofalifetime.org/application. The application is about 30 to 40 minutes to complete. But again, we want this to be easy and fun. And so if you need help completing the application, if you want us to outreach and complete the application, I have regional staff members all around the United States. And you can reach out to us directly at volunteer@wishofalifetime.org or through me or Kiki, and we'll help you with that wish submission. Really, once you bring the story to us, we can help with the application and we take care of the rest of the process. So once we get a wish submission in, our team calls out to the wish recipient. We really review our wish based on a few different criteria, but we focus on the personal story, we focus on the connection, and we want to make sure that somebody has had some difficulty that they're experiencing in their life. It's really important that we're honoring people that not only deserve a wish, but also need one. And there's a little bit of a difference there. Once our committee decides whether or not we're able to grant the wish that you submitted, then we take care of everything. We execute the entire wish, and it will be on the next slide, I believe, but we pay for everything. We pay for the flight, we pay for the hotel, we pay for a photographer. We even had an older adult whose wish of a lifetime was to go on a fighter jet, but in order to do that, he needed somebody to pay for a dog sitter. So we were able to do that. We do everything in our power to support an older adult's wish experience, and that may even include sending you. That's something that Doug and I and Kiki and Tom are just super excited about, that possibility of, we always send a companion with a wish recipient, but sometimes that companion may even be you. And as somebody that's gone on probably 10 or 15 wishes, you'll definitely submit more wishes, because it is a completely life-changing and impactful experience. So I wanted to go through the lifespan of the wish, but I really want to focus on point number one, which is once you submit the wish to us, we will keep you in touch because it's your older adult, you're working with them, and you'll be really excited about it. But we manage expectations, we answer questions, we grant the wish. My hope is this entire engagement with us costs you about an hour per wish. And when you think about Dan and Mel's story, an hour's not that much for the payoff. But we know you're students, and we want to take on, once you make the introduction, we want to take on as much as we possibly can. So, sorry about that. Whoops. Okay. So we have our last slide here. And this is basically what I had talked about, but we have the application on the website, which I'm more than happy to pull up. You can also email us directly at volunteer@wishofelifetime.org or me directly at jared@wishofelifetime.org, and I'll put this information in the chat. But what's really cool, and Doug talked about this a little bit, you all are the first group to have this opportunity, which means we want to provide coaching and support to you. It's not something that we expect you to go on our website. We can help work through that first wish because it takes a little bit of know-how to figure out exactly how to submit. So not only will we execute the wish, but we will help coach you through this process to make sure this is really fun and easy. So the last thing I'll say before we open it up to questions is the too good to be true effect. And I mentioned this at the beginning, but I have to close with it now. You'll see on the left-hand side of the screen everything that we cover, and we've done it for 2,600 wishes. Why do we do what we do? Because it's our mission to change the way society views and values aging, but also because every story that I told today is based on stories that we've granted. All of these stories are real, they're true, and we're able to use them to tell incredible stories to not only inspire volunteers, but also to deeply, deeply engage, potential supporters as we grow. And so for older adults that do not want to share their story, of course, we respect that. But just as you're talking to older adults and you're doing that life review and reminisce therapy on your typical visits, it's important for them to realize how impactful their stories are, not only to our mission, but our world. So with that being said, we're right at 1:45. I want to open it up to questions. We have a few general questions that I'm more than happy to answer if people don't have questions to start off with. But I just wanted to end and thank you all for being such a great audience and being open to starting this with us. We're really excited, and we want to make sure that you feel really supported and have a positive experience with Wish of a Lifetime so that this is a relationship that can grow not only through your college experience, but through your professional career. So with that being said, thank you again so much. And we have 15 minutes for questions for me to revisit slides or provide any additional explanation as necessary. And of course, I invite Tom and Kiki and Doug to come in too if they'd like to add.
So we did have one question, Jared, that came up earlier when you were speaking. It just said, how do you filter through the list of nominees and choosing the wishes? It's a question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'm going to go back. Let's see if I can go back. Amazing. So this is why I love the lifespan of the wish. So outreach is your part. The second part is review. So our team, once a wish comes in, our team reaches out and we do a full validation call where we ask pretty deep questions about not only the person's life, but their potential wish, their experience of what the wish would be like, their life history, etc. And then we submit those reports to what is called the third-party validation committee. So this is a committee comprised actually of former wish recipients, volunteers, former board members, former staff members, a neutral committee that weighs wishes to see how we're going to be able to grant as many impactful wishes as possible. And we really focus on deep connection to the wish, that personal story, and the isolation that the older adult is going through. Now, unofficially, we grant, we approve a very high percentage of the wishes that are coming in. That may change as we're growing, but this is not Publishers Clearinghouse. This is really important. It is our hope and it is our intention that we can grant as many wishes as possible. And so our team works really hard to get all of the information that we can to make the best case. With that being said, some wishes are not approved, and that's why it's so great that we'll have that coaching role with you. So if a wish isn't going to be approved, I'll be able to give you a heads up, a notice, and we'll work with you to make sure that your wish recipients' expectations are managed, and we can take those learnings and find a wish in the future that will be granted. But it's my goal, because you guys are getting a pretty intense training here, that we get a lot of wishes that are approved and granted. A lot of the wishes that we get that aren't granted are wishes from people that don't know much about Wish of a Lifetime. And so I think all of this information will not only allow more wishes to be submitted, but hopefully better wishes that we're able to grant. So fantastic and really important question.
And I think this group is on the ground floor. You're showing initiative
absolutely.
already. You know, you're interested in this. You're finding out some of these resources. I mean, I will tell you that Kiki, Tom, and Jared and I are 100% behind trying to support this initiative. I look at it as, you know, you're taking care of people's parents, grandparents, and individuals that all have purpose and need and stories. And I'm super excited about the ripple effect of this effort as well. And just so you know, we did have a webinar with faculty, and I was nervous about this before the call today because we have like a dozen schools that are pilot schools. I know Tom and Jared said, if you have 1,000 wishes this next year, we can't do it. And I don't want to overload what we're doing. And I was nervous a few days ago because we didn't have as many students signed up as we wanted. And this is a great first starting group, and I just commend all of you. And let's hear what other questions you have, because we'll work with your universities too. And one of the things that I'll pick on Mitch, because I know Mitch, so I can pick on Mitch. And Anisha, thanks for putting your video on it. But I'll pick on Mitch. I mean, within your program, I'd love to see this count as one of those projects that you're involved with in your residency. I mean, I think it's kind of the rigor is there. It's certainly impactful, but I'm excited about that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How soon can you start like submitting wishes? Like,
Tomorrow.
Is this something that's open right now?
I'm kidding.
It's a great
It's open
question.
right now. Yeah, but
today, yeah. And so one of the things that I try to be really careful about is, hopefully some of you will leave feeling really excited about this, but we got to keep this fun and easy. And so you could submit 15 wishes today, and Doug and I would be very excited about it. But I think
one per person.
Focus is, think about one, right? Think about submitting one wish today. See how this week, think about how the process works. And through doing that, and Kiki shared the application, which is great because I can't share my screen without taking this screen off. But you can go on our application. You can also email us, not only at volunteer@wish, but I'll put my email address in there. We would be more than thrilled to start that process as soon as you all are ready. And it's cool, you know, not to be overly competitive, but the first wish that is granted, we'll be able to then share that on a future call and hopefully inspire your classmates. So anything we can do to be that enthusiasm, we're here to do.
Our plan is to do another one of these calls in early December, because we want to make sure that we're supporting everybody that might have an interest.
So Brenda had a great question, and this is so fun because it's allowing me to just go back to the slides here. Are there exclusion criteria such as U.S. citizenship, immigration status? I think it's just important for you all to know because the field program was founded in 2020, and our goal was to try to broaden the scope of what we do or the umbrella of who's invited. And we used to have a citizenship question. We used to have a past felony question. We no longer have either. We do need people to reside in the United States. AARP is an American charity, and so we can't grant wishes for people in Canada or other countries, but we have purposefully reduced restrictions there. So very proud of that, and hopefully that helps you with your outreach.
Good.
Perfect. It looks like Judy has a question, her hand raised. Do you want to ask your question, Judy?
Hi, yes, thank you. First off, it was a wonderful presentation. I've never personally heard of Life-Changing Wish, so it was very awesome to hear. I do have a question regarding to see if you have like a pamphlet or YouTube video that I can share with other people about the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can follow up and Kiki will send it out. We have a bunch of beautiful videos on YouTube, but we do have a few brochures that will help you with your outreach. And if there's anything else you need, obviously you can come back to me. But
Awesome,
I'll have
thank
Kiki
you.
send it out to you.
Judith,
Awesome.
where are you from?
I'm from Downey, California. I go to Cal State Dominguez as well.
Oh, another one. Nice.
Yes.
Good for Matthew. Nice.
Okay, Manuel, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, so I'm very curious as to what other ways I can contribute or support what you guys have going on here, because I understand that I can supply wishes, but I would like to also, if there's any other opportunities, become more involved. Like I don't know, it could be anything, such as like you mentioned, sometimes you need the dog sitter for when the person is getting their wish fulfilled. Like if there's anything I can do, such as being that dog sitter, or I don't know, I'm just curious if there's anything else I can do to support as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I wish if this presentation was 2 hours, we could talk about other volunteer engagement, but I'm glad that I have a moment to chat on it right now. So what Manuel's talking about is not only spreading the word in community, but also being a volunteer with our wish recipients. So we have a pretty prolific volunteer program where we not only want our volunteers to help find wishes, but we want volunteers to help grant wishes, and we want volunteers to help give back to older adults. So if you are interested in learning more, please email volunteer@wishofalifetime.org and even just say like, I'm in, and then I'll reach out to you. We have a different training on that and additional information, but that is so generous and amazing. And we have a lot of volunteer opportunities throughout the year to enrich seniors' lives. Because you're right, we want to make sure that the wish isn't just a one-time thing. How can we make sure that we're granting a wish? It makes the older adult feel so special and so supported, and then we're supporting that older adult through the lifespan.
Well, and of course, I'm going to say, Manuel, I'm also, there are opportunities within the Vision Center as well, because we need your voice. We need that voice we need the voice of the next generation.
Yeah.
Making sure that we're kind of finding the right talent to lead organizations that can continue to kind of make sure that we're doing the best possible job taking care of people and providing services to people. Mitch has got his hand up too.
And I want to do just real quick, I want to get to you, Mitch, but I want to make sure our people in the chat are heard too. So either it's Yasmin or Jasmine. So my apologies if I mispronounce. But the question is there a goal or number of wishes that the organization hopes to fulfill yearly? This year, our goal is to fulfill about 250. The goal is deep, high quality wish experiences. But as Doug mentioned, for Vision Center, our goal for you all is to have everybody submit, one wish by the end of the year, and all of a sudden we're looking in 2024, and Vision Center is responsible for just a bunch of our wishes per year.
Well,
sorry, Mitch. Sorry for keeping you waiting.
No. That's an ongoing discussion with us and Wish. I mean, I think that we'll monitor that. You said the other day, let's worry about turning people away before we worry about limiting, but we
More
have
the
to make
merrier.
sure that more the merrier, okay? Thomas like, okay, watch out.
Good. I've been doing this for years. I've never, more the merrier has never been a problem. So let's see if Vision Center makes it a problem. Mitch, go ahead.
Yeah, so my question, as an AIT, I'm just curious, how long does it usually take, like once you submit a wish to when that wish is fulfilled? I'm just curious if like I'd be able to see it through all the way to the end or not.
Great questions. Yes. So from outreach to celebration, our average is about 3 months. The one thing that I will say, and I'm really proud of this, is very rarely is a time holdup on us. One of my favorite wishes of all time, we had an older adult that was on hospice. He was at end of life. And the wish came into me on Thursday night from his nominator. We spoke with him and his family Thursday night. We sent it to our committee Friday morning. And Saturday at lunch, his sister was at his community from New York visiting. So we put a wish together in 48 hours. Typically, it's the older adult that wants it to be a little bit later. They want to travel in the warm weather. They're waiting for health things to clear up. So if it's anything more than 3 months, it's usually because the wish recipient wants to push it back. Or if it's like Mel Heckman and he's going to Hawaii, obviously that takes us a little bit more time. But very, very, very rarely do I hear from a wish recipient that they wish it moved faster. Because I believe thoroughly, and you guys all see it in the field, our seniors are healthier today than they will be tomorrow. So we do have a sense of urgency on our team in making these wishes come true.
One, we kind of rolled this out, Mitch, expecting that people started in June or September with some of their residencies. So the timing, well, we waited on a few things, but the timing is trying to, and it's, you know, like we talked about, we're going to be we're kind of doing this first year to, you know, from September through following August, see how we do, kind of see what's going on with the different universities, but all good.
So I wanted to just quickly, I know we're right at 2 o'clock. So I want to just go through really quickly about if a wish is not granted. I said this, but I want to make sure everybody hears this. This is really important. Our team, and this is part of the coaching, our team helps manage expectations. We make sure that we are listening and honoring an older adult story, even if the wish isn't granted. So for those that have concerns about taking this into your community and having wishes not happen, not granted, I just want to assuage or relieve those concerns. That's the reason why Kiki and Doug and I and Tom have worked so hard on this program, is to make sure we're setting everybody else up for not 100% success, but just a really, really positive experience. So I just want you to take that with you. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, Jared. And one thing that just dawned on me is you're giving this great presentation. And as I was thinking about this collaboration, is that everyone here on this call is here because you've all made a choice to serve older adults. And I think that's really special. And thank you for making that choice. And one of the things, well, I would say the great thing about wish granting is I would argue it is one of the most tangible representations of why we make that choice. And I see it from 3 points of view. One, you get to reconnect with the individuals who we're all choosing to serve in a really deep and profound way. 2, you get to positively impact their way in truly life-changing interventions. And then 3, and I think this might be the most important piece, is you get to share that with wider audiences, with other people, so that they can buy into and share in with that commitment we've all made to serving older adults. So really appreciate you all being here today. Jared, great job. Doug, Kiki, I'm just more fired up about where we can take this all. and excited to see what type of wishes come in.
And I'm more than happy, no pressure. I know everybody's so busy. So it's 02, so everybody should hop off. But for those, my brother's a little shy. So for those like my brother who want to ask questions but don't want to ask in front of 40, I'll sit on for 2 or 3 minutes. Otherwise, I totally echo what Tom's saying, and thanks for being here.